So where should you be flipping houses in the UK? There's a whole bunch of great areas that work as flips. I like to recommend, personally, having done over 40 projects, I like to recommend stay close to home if it's viable for you. Now, that might sound silly, even contradictory to someone like myself who actually moved from London, where I'm from originally, to Newcastle to relocate to invest in property. But actually, I did that to start my journey in property, which was in buy-to-lets. I started with buy-to-lets first. I started building a portfolio in buy-to-lets. And of course, the yields in the Northeast are a lot stronger for single-let family home properties than they are in many other areas of the country. So that made sense for me to get up and relocate. That was a big decision, but it paid off in building my portfolio, which I've done and I'll continue to do. But that's a different strategy altogether. When it comes to flipping, I recommend, if you can, stay close to home, because the reality is you're going to be looking at a lot of properties. If you want success with a strategy, you have to hustle. You can't just call a couple of agents and hope to get a massively discounted property that's going to make you a big profit. It just doesn't work. You have to hustle. You have to make a bunch of calls. You have to actually go out there and network and view a bunch of properties before you get anywhere, because statistically, the odds are against you. Most people will not want to sell their properties to you at the price that you need to get it for. So statistically, you have to put the numbers in, and that means lots of phone calls, lots of viewings, lots of activity in order to get to where you need to be and find that next deal that's going to actually be viable as a flip. So if you're going to be doing that, you ideally want to be in an area where you can get to viewings, you can get to properties within a half hour, there or thereabouts, preferably. Now, you might go a little bit further than that, depending where you are in the country, that's fine. But generally, if you can get there within half hour or so, it's a sustainable strategy for most people to be able to view a bunch of properties. Now, aside from that, you want to be in an area that's got stuff going on. So there's employment opportunities, there's transport links, there's basically stuff that's going to be appealing to people that want to move to that area. So if you're in areas where perhaps there's less going on, they're very rural, it doesn't necessarily mean they're not desirable areas, because some can be, absolutely, but it can be a little bit more tricky to get the stats that you need. So the number of conversations and viewings that you need to generally get in order to find properties at discounted prices. Generally speaking, there'll be less buyers when you come to sell, which can make things a little bit more tricky to sell a property quickly. Now, selling a property quickly is crucial when you're flipping property, because you need to get that money invested and move it along to the next one. The longer it takes to sell, the more it will hurt you. Even if you're not borrowing money from someone else, i.e. using bridging finance or private finance, even if you're not doing that and using your own money, it still hurts, because there's an opportunity cost for not having that money working hard for you on the next deal. So speed is key as well. So you're going to go to an area where there's enough going on. Now, you can judge that, and with experience, you'll gather enough information over time if there's enough demand in areas. But what you don't want to do is go out there, buy a project and have it stuck on the market for years on end, because you just simply don't have enough buyers and you don't have enough demand. So demand is crucial. So go to areas where there's stuff going on, there's transport links, there's jobs, there's opportunities, there's things that are going to attract people to the area. So close to cities, you don't have to be necessarily in major cities, but you want to be close to that if possible. So that's going to get buyers waiting to buy that next project that you find. So that's really crucial. And if you can do that, if you can stay within half an hour or so of your properties that you're viewing, it's just more sustainable over time. If you have to go and do 20 viewings, in some cases 30 viewings to find that next deal, then it's more likely you will stick to that if you get to those properties within a reasonable length of time. Now, like I said, I relocated to the other side of the country to make a buy-to-let strategy work for me. And when I was starting out on property, that might be something you decide to do as well. But in most cases, if you can stay local, it's more feasible, it's more easy to achieve a consistent momentum, which is what you need when it comes to property. Doing enough viewings, doing enough activity for you to be able to generate enough opportunity that leads to good deals. Stay local if you can. If not, and you really want to be successful in property, by all means relocate. But for most people, if you're within half an hour or so, you'll probably be in an area, generally speaking, where there'll be opportunities to do flips. Flips work all the way across the country for the most part. Unlike buy-to-lets, like I've talked about there, where there's certain areas where you'll get really high yields, flips generally work across the country. So what is great about that is you're not limited to a certain location. You don't have to travel ages to go and look at a deal. In most cases, you'll be able to find opportunities very near to where you live. This one here, I'm stood in this current flip project right now, is literally a 7-minute drive from where I live in Newcastle. So it's quite convenient for me to get here, manage this project, and I'm excited to see how this development turns out. As you can see behind me, it's been smashed to pieces. Next step is actually starting to make it look nice again, which I'm currently working on, and you'll see more videos on this project very soon. Where to invest, in summary, as local as you can get away with, as local as there's opportunities, because that's sustainable, that's consistent for you, but you need to go where the deals are. So if you need to travel further than that, and that's the difference between success and failure, then you do it, ultimately, if you have to. So hopefully that information is useful for you. If so, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and you'll see me in the next